All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to get the show on the road. It's 5:30. It is a official Bristol Township Council meeting for June 19th, 2025, starting time 5:30. Please stand for a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence to honor our dedication and sacrifice to emergency responders, police officers, and service members for the commitment of protecting our community, and especially for the ones that never came back. All right, roll call, please.
President Bowen.
Here.
Vice President Murphy.
Present.
Mr. Antonello.
I'm here.
Mr. Blaylock.
Here.
Ms. Dunlap.
Here.
Mr. Glassen.
Here. Great to see everybody. Thank you for coming out. Even though it's not always on a great to see residents for situations, but it's good to see people coming out to a council meeting. It's very unusual to have this many people, but it's great to see. Maybe down the road, we'll see more people coming out. Yep, thank you. Monthly reports are available for review in the Township's Manager's Office. Public comments will be taken on land development and official action items. General comments will be taken during opportunity for residents to address council. Next, we have a presentation. We have a 2024 year-end review, information technology by Bob Lebo, Director of IT. Bob, great to see you.
Hi, Bob.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, council, everyone here in the audience.
And before we go further, just know Bob was a police officer here, sergeant, and then retired and moved into the IT department. Thanks, Bob, for your service.
So with that said, my name is Bob Lebo. I'm the IT director. I've got over 35 years of dedicated to Bristol Township. I started as a dispatcher. I retired as a police officer and a detective, and I'm an experienced and certified technology and cybersecurity expert. So the 2024 accomplishments. We did a lot of camera system upgrades in 24. Replaced the camera systems in this building, Public Works, and the sewer plant. We added sewer security cameras at Parks and Rec building and the Schumacher building, which is over on Greenlawn Park. Replaced cameras at the Policeman's Park and Croydon Acres Park. Policeman's Park is in Indian Creek, by the way. Both of those cameras are replaced with grant monies. The Bloomsdale camera system replacement is in progress. They're actually going to start hanging the cameras again on Monday. All the cameras and the communications equipment are currently being replaced. And again, that's all done with grant monies as well. Automated license plate recognition. We put in 2 new systems at Bristol Oxford Valley and Route 413 in New Falls. We split the cost with Middletown. It'll be an annual cost between us. The LPRs currently being installed at State and Cedar and Mill Creek and Green Lane. They are done. They are in place. They are up and they are running. They are grant funds as well. At the end of 5 years, we will have to pick up the costs on that, but the grant funds will cover 5 years. I replaced our computer infrastructure, all of our server infrastructure, the back end this year. Gave us more computing power, RAM, and storage space at least to get us through at least another 5 years. We were out of storage space. We had 2 email tenants. One was for municipal employees, one was for police employees, and merged those two tenants together. It's more secure and it's easier to administer. Automatic vehicle location system, that's GPS for cars and stuff like that. We started rolling that out in '24. We found a new vendor. It's costing us less money, and currently we're outfitting the township vehicles with AVLS right now. Township website, I secured a Bristol TWPPA.gov address so that we have a .gov address so everybody knows that we are a government. I led the transition and implementation from the old site to the new. However, the heavy lifting was done by Heather. She did all the granular activity on the back end, getting all the users up and running, getting everything, getting your content managers working on the website and stuff like that. Just so you know, we were the first municipality in Bucks County to have a website. We put it up in 1998. I led that, that charge, and you'll see this was what the website looked like in 1998. This is what we just migrated from, and this is where we're currently at, right up here at the top. We've come a long way. I introduced some email security. We use a company called Mimecast. As you can see, in 2023, Comcast showed that we had 23.5 billion cybersecurity attacks in this nation. 9.1 million average daily phishing clicks. That's emails that come in for phishing, people looking for information. That's daily. 24.3 million malicious URLs were opened. That's a URL is a universal resource locator. That's a www address that you type into your web browser. 16.9 million malware payloads were downloaded by people in 2023. 2024 stats aren't out yet. The bottom here is what we look like on a daily basis. This is what Mimecast gives me every day. So the total emails that come in here, there were 1,512 emails. 878 of them were no good. Over half of them were no good. There was an individual tracker for somebody, and almost all emails have some type of trackers in them. You just don't know that they're there. Our emails are now scanned for malicious websites. Every time there's a URL inside a website you're gonna click, it rewrites that and it checks it every time you click it. I don't care if the email is 5 years old. If you go to click that URL again, Mimecast is gonna scan it and check to make sure that the website is good that you're going to. We're now archiving. All the emails that we had are now archived. So everything that comes in, we can now respond better to legal requests. Our searches before were just individual mailboxes over and over and over again with asking for different things. Now we can just do it in one place. And we won't lose anything. I also implemented something called CoFence, which is security awareness training. It tests for phishing emails and stuff like that. We got that through a grant for this year. If it works out, we'll have to pick up the cost from everything annually going on. But we got that through Pennsylvania, through PEMA. I'll get reports on users that click on things, and it'll automatically take them to training if they click on something that they're not supposed to. So you guys may see them as well. So my goals for '25, I have to complete the implementation of multi-factor authentication, that's Duo, for all users in the building. We're gonna complete the GPS rollout to the cars, all of our whole fleet. Dedicated fiber optic internet connections to the township building, Schumacher, sewer, Public Works. We were gonna phase that in. Comcast is really, really working fast. They've already installed the fiber in every place except for the firehouse. We have dedicated fiber in all the buildings. We're just waiting for Comcast to come put the equipment in, and then we'll fire them up one at a time. We're gonna take that slow. Electronic document management is on my radar for this year so that we can get rid of boxes and boxes and boxes of paper that we have, and everything coming in will be electronic and it's easily searchable. I'm going to develop IT standards and operating procedures in order to prepare for future IT staff or IT staff expansion beyond me. I'm going to investigate implementing artificial intelligence into some of the aspects of our daily operations, whether it's in the police department, the manager's office, building and planning. It's where we're at today. One of my other goals is Windows 11. The Windows 10 operating system is end of life October 14th of 2025. In order to stay compliant with CJIS, that's Criminal Justice Information Systems, they have guidelines, and to avoid security issues, all PCs need to be replaced or upgraded if it's possible, because Windows 11 has a lot of criteria that it needs to upgrade. It's a work in progress, and it's my main focus for the next few months, amongst the other things that I do. Any questions? Concerns? It's over my head, too. Well, you got to call me.
Yeah, I wanted to say,
Thanks.
all that is exactly what I wanted you to do, too. Like, as tech savvy.
Well, thank you again for your continued support and your confidence in my work. It's glad to be back. I'm glad to be back.
There we go. Next, we have Click Effects presentation, new civic engagement tool. Heather?
I'm just pulling that up now. So it is. Hello, can you hear me? Oh, perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna navigate to this just like anyone, one of our residents will. So you're gonna go to that lovely URL that Bob mentioned, the bristoltwppa.gov. And then from here, you're going to then move to over here where it says report a concern and share a compliment. So while that loads, it will take you to a different page, but it is ours, so you don't have to worry too much. So SeeClickFix is a customer request management system. So it is a one-stop shop for residents to be able to submit questions and concerns and just different information that they may run into out in the public. So that could be potholes, that could be a sign got knocked over at the end of a street, plenty of different things. So we're gonna go ahead and right now I'm just gonna use this building, 2501 Bath Road. You pop in a location, or you can also drag this little map around, and this also works on your phone. So you select the location, or I guess we'll take this one. You'll confirm it, and then it's going to show you all of the different requests that you can have. So I did pop up an opportunity that if you would like to compliment a staff member or a department, that you can do so. We love hearing the positive things that our great staff do, as well as things that you'd like us to work on. But there's opportunity for general inquiries, same for any sort of code enforcement. So there's several different categories that you can submit a request there. You can send some non-emergency related situations to the police. So that would be like a abandoned vehicle on the street, animal control, graffiti. Same for public works. So if you got some storm water drainage issues, missing signs, a sinkhole, trees or potholes, things like that. You can request your bulk pickup. You can submit missed trash day pickups, and you can submit for a new trash, and then any sort of sewer inquiries that you might have. So we'll go ahead and submit just a general inquiry. So if there's something that you would like to take a picture of, you can snap a picture of, like, let's say a really big pothole that's forming in the front of your house. You can snap a picture of that and you pop it up there, and then the guys can go and compare it on their phones and see, yes, it is that pothole, but you don't have to. So you hit no photo. Different things will populate different areas for you to add information about that. So that could be, it's to the right-hand side of the street. It could be, sinkhole forming in this sort of area of this park. Any sort of information that's relevant to help our people find and resolve the situation. So for here, I'm just gonna say that this is a test, confirm the details. So when you can submit as yourself and create an account, and then you can also submit it as a guest. There are only certain things that you can submit as a guest for, because there are some things that we need to be able to communicate back to the resident with. So I'm just gonna go here, submit it as a guest in this moment. But from here, you can also see what's going on in the rest of the township. They should load here. Here we go. So we're looking at, we've got different potholes that have been submitted that this is picking up. And so you'll see some of them have been closed. Some of them have been acknowledged. We'll click into this one and see. And sometimes when people go to submit a request, in the past, we get phone calls in, right? So we could get 10, 15, 20 calls about the same pothole and continually tell people, yep, we're aware of that, thank you, we'll have somebody out to work on it, such and such. In this particular case, if somebody is submitting this and somebody else goes to submit it, so if we click over here, so I'm gonna say, I'm gonna take this address and I'm gonna pretend to submit a new request for that pothole. And it is actually going to register and understand that that pothole has already been submitted. No photo. We'll go ahead and do that. So it's gonna go ahead and trigger that as a secondary one and send that alert. So people can subscribe to it, they can become aware of it. And then there is communication going back and forth between our township staff and the resident about each of these requests that go in. So it's just a better way to have some back and forth and communication between what's going on, as well as getting those updates and not feeling that you need to pick up the phone. So hopefully this will be a nice, useful tool. We really encourage everyone to use it.
Do you want to eliminate people sending emails? Is that people would send an email about a problem? Is that what?
One of the benefits of this system is that we can track it, so it's trackable, it's reportable. We can see, if there's a certain area. So we correct.
Got it.
And then when people call in, what staff will do if somebody can't enter it themselves, we can enter it for the resident,
Okay.
and so it benefits us using the system.
Okay, roger that.
And on the phone, you had to download the app, right?
What was that?
You have to download the app if you're using your phone, or you don't have to.
You can do both. You can you can either download the app for easy access, but you can also just go straight from our website and use it on a phone just like that. It works both ways.
Thank you for that presentation.
I got a question. Now, what if someone's not techie, computer savvy? They can still call in? Okay, they make their
Yes,
complaint that way?
so,
Okay, just want to make sure.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's what we had said. They'll call in and they can say, I don't have the app, and then one of our clerks or something will enter the data in so that it's in the system, and then it's a workflow. If they can't get to the app or see anything, then they'll have to call back for an update. But we're trying to get it a little bit more streamlined for everybody.
Okay, thank you. Okay. We're going to move right along to the consent agenda. We have approval of voucher list and requisition dated June 19, 2025, in an amount of $4,355,686.18. We need approval of May 15, 2025 council meeting minutes. Consider resolution for official sewage facilities planning module for 623rd Avenue in Croydon. And last is consider resolution approving the community development 2025 to 2028 consolidated plan and 2025 program year action plan, and authorizing its submission to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. I need a motion on that.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Patrick Antonello, second by Joe Glasson. On the motion, is there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Report from township managers, next on the agenda.
Thank you, President Bowen. We know that there are several people here from the Greenbrook area. Before the first person comes up to speak, I can give some updates so everybody is on the same page of what the township, PICO, the property owner have been discussing. That is all I have. Thank you.
That's it?
I thought you were just
Okay.
gonna do that.
Yep, thank you.
You'll do that later? Okay.
All right,
You want me to
report.
talk about MS4 at this? All right, no problem. Real quick, real brief, I just want to give an update. It's an annual requirement to give an update on the Bristol Township's MS4 program for stormwater management. I could go in a lot of detail, too, if you guys would.
Oh, please, go granular. That's the federally mandated program for stormwater management.
I think you like to refer to it as the federally unfunded.
That's correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Is the Fed's going to pay for this? No. Okay. All right, what do we got, Kurt?
So this is related to the municipal, it's called the MS4. So in 2017, the township was required to apply for an individual NPS permit. A permit was issued June 1st, 2019. The permit requires this annual meeting discussion. One of the things that we're working on with that program is in the Plumridge section. We have to do pollution reduction plan projects, and we received a grant, which will help fund some of this, to redo the swales going into the creek, known as bioswales. So we're actively working on getting permits for that to hopefully soon construct that project. So that's my update.
Oh, thank you.
Can I interject for a second there,
Sure can.
Chief? Can I get an update on Randall Avenue Bridge? That's not on our agenda, is it?
No, they're still working. I mean, they started working June 19th, I believe. June
And work is proceeding apace?
No, today's June 19th.
June 9th.
It was May 19th, I believe.
Yeah.
And they're still doing their exploratory, structures, and they submitted plans to, they're out there. The fencing is up. They're doing their exploratory to figure out what means and methods they're going to do for the jacking and fixing the abutments. And they're working with PICO on that, but they've been out there every day.
So the job site is manned and they're doing what they can do.
Yeah,
Great.
they're
It's just
working on
good to keep,
The abutments are being worked on. They chipped out some of the loose concrete.
they're
and
jacking
getting-
concrete, yeah, they're gonna redo those. Okay.
Yeah, so they're making good progress. I mean, they're first-class contractor.
Yeah,
Doing
I
a great job.
have complete faith in the contractor. I think it was a good choice. Okay, I just wanted to hear where we were, and I'm sure some of the residents want to know where we are, so. Yeah.
I'm glad to say that the website is up to date with the information.
Thank you.
Next, Township Solicitor, Mr. Flagger.
I have nothing further at this time. Wish everyone a happy Juneteenth.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Flagger, and it's good to see you. Next on, we're moving on agenda, new business. We have application of John and Darlene Beck requesting a preliminary final subdivision approval for a lot line change located at 7985 Bristol Pike, tax parcel number 5-075-257 and 5-075-257-003 in a C commercial zone district. Good evening. Good to see you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today on what I think is a pretty simple, straightforward application. I'm here with Mr. John Beck. Him and his father have owned John's Auto Body, which you know is on Route 13 where the palm trees are. For over 40 years in this township, they've done business. Yeah. So they own 4 parcels located on Route 13. They are these 3 here. The one is the corner lot, which is a red building on the corner of Haynes Road and Route 13, which they've just recently acquired. The adjacent one is where the auto mechanic shop is, and the third one is where the auto body shop is. They also own the one that's next to that, but we're not here to talk about that lot today. As you all know, at some point in time, there was a exit ramp for Route 13 to Haynes Road that separated two of those parcels. That property was not recently, 2017 was given back to the Becks. Then they purchased the corner property. They put the property lines back in the original spot, which means that the corner property building is only 4 feet off the property line. What we'd like to do is move it so that parcel becomes more usable. And if you'll notice at this building here, the property line goes through the building. So we'd like to move that property line so it no longer goes through the building. If you can move to the next slide, the red lines are there for you to see where the lines are we're going to move. So the first slide was where they were existing, and the next slide is where we want to move them. We're not changing any of the use. All the uses are going to stay the same. We're not proposing any new construction. We're not proposing to do anything else. We are here asking for a couple waivers that are mostly related to existing circumstances at the site. And I can go through the waivers if you want. If you don't, we can proceed.
We sent, I'm sorry.
I did receive a preliminary draft resolution. We reviewed it and we are fine on it.
You prepared to sign it?
We are, but I noticed Mrs. Beck's name is on there. She is not here, but Mr. Beck is.
I mean.
Yes,
your-
absolutely.
Your clients are prepared to sign.
Yes.
Council action is in order.
Yeah, I'm good with this. I'll make a motion.
Well, can I ask a question though, Brian?
ahead.
The corner property, so that's now bigger, right?
Correct.
What are they gonna do with that?
Well, I guess it gives them an opportunity to do something in the future because as you know, the parking in the front of that building is very tight.
Right.
But we're not proposing that at this time. If they want to do something, they'll have to come before you and get land development approval.
Yeah, because a lot of that parking is it obstructs the view when you're trying to make a right onto 13. At
That's
that
not-
corner there.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Cindy. They're talking about, that's not your business. You lease that to
No,
someone?
Mr. Beck has recently acquired that property.
Oh, okay, so that's their business now, the former owner.
Okay.
Somebody,
lease
Mr. Beck
it
is
to
not
somebody?
operating, but the previous tenant is still in there.
That's what I'm trying to get to. The
But Mr.
previous
Alright.
tenant is still occupying the property.
All right,
But Mr. Beck does own it.
Okay.
thank you.
So there's a site view problem when you're making a right?
There
Oh,
is.
yeah,
Because of
yeah.
the cars.
Because of where they're
So
parked.
duly
Yeah.
noted.
Can we can offer to put parking bumpers there to prevent people from backing closer. There is a sidewalk there that's associated with the crosswalk.
Right.
Which is about 5 feet wide. We can make it so that the cars don't encroach past that sidewalk.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's-
That would be,
It's dangerous.
Great idea.
But thank you. I just,
Good call, Cindy.
yeah, if
All
you
right.
can think
All
about
right.
that. Thank you.
We need a motion on that lot line changes. Motion by Mary Ann Wagner, second by Marcia Dunlap on the lot line changes. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Thank you,
you.
Brian. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have application of Michael and Sharon Leo requesting preliminary subdivision approval to subdivide 1210 Third Avenue, Croydon, tax parcel number 5-011-044, into 2 lots in a R3 residential district.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Frank Bustamante from Bustamante Engineers. I represent Mike and Sharon Leo to prepare the plans necessary.
Excuse me, could you
turn on the microphone?
Is it green?
No, just as long as it's a green.
Is it green?
It's green now.
Okay, there we
So,
go.
like I said, I represent Sharon and Mike Leo for this simple minor subdivision of around a 24,000 square foot lot into 2 lots. And one lot is going to be around 15,000 square feet, and the other one's around 9,300 square feet. When I say simple, it's basically one of the lots. So now we're going to remove what they call the mobile structure there and build a house later on, not necessary today, but soon. And the other portion of the lot already has a single-family home, and there's other dynamics associated with this, but. In regards to the resolution that was given to us by Mr. Flagger over there, my client and I, we spoke about it, and we are all about complying to all those
Details.
including the waivers. And I can go over the waivers you want me to, but it's up to you.
Doran, did you go in front of the waivers for zoning? and
Were you just at zoning?
No, we were at Planning Commission.
Planning
Planning,
Commission,
yeah.
Earlier
right.
this month.
And you went through all the waivers at Planning Commission?
Absolutely.
Yep, okay.
I watched.
And our
Yeah, we're
engineer-
good.
Our engineer is good with it.
Yeah.
And we've,
Kurt? Easy, okay.
and we've prepared the resolution. Council action is in order.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Cindy Murphy. Second by Marcia Dunlap. On the motion, is there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, everyone have a good night.
Welcome to Bristol Township. Next, we have, oh, wait a second. All right, moving along, we have considered cooperation agreement with the redevelopment authority of the county of Bucks for sale of the redevelopment activities for 721 Emily Road, Croydon. Want to
Thank
explain?
you.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
So this is the former building where Bark had been in for very many years. Bark moved out about 2 years ago, and we had talked about selling the property then. It's a little over, it's 2 parcels, it's a little over 3 acres. The building is very old, aging, and we didn't need it for anything. It would be too much to maintain. That's when we found out that that Bark was subletting the space as well. So then that's when we talked, if you recall, to Vita Educational Services. We let them stay as they found another place. They have now moved out, and so now we put the cooperation agreement back on the table. The property had to be vacant. This is with the redevelopment authority. It would be us turning over the property to them selling, looking for an owner for the property. There's been, this was my recommendation to let the RDA handle it. There's been a lot of interest in the property, and it's just better to have somebody else handle it. So that's my recommendation, and then, have the RDA look at the sale of the property. It's zoned R3, so, we're expecting we tell them the use, and it's going to be residential dwellings.
So we need a motion for that.
A motion to approve the cooperation agreement.
We have a motion by Mary Ann Wagner.
I'll second it.
Second by Joe Glasson on the motion. Is there any questions? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, we have bids for 2025 road paving program.
Okay, thank you again. So we put out, the public bids for our 2025 road paving program. The base bid came in, the low bidder was J.D. Morrissey at the base bid was $721,988.69. We had alternate number 1, number 2, and number 3. They were all for not to use liquid fuels funding. It would be general fund or sewer fund funding. This is to fix up the parking lot after the expansion of the treatment plant. And then alternate 4 was the alleyways in Bloomsdale Garden, and that was for $104,484. So my recommendation would be to accept the base bid with alternates 1 through 4 being paid out of the base bid out of liquid fuels, and alternates 1 through 4 out of the general fund.
We need a motion. I'll make it. Motion by Marcia Dunlap.
I'll second it.
You guys want to flip a coin here? You know what, Joe? It's good to see you. How about Ray down there? Ray, what's going on? No? Okay. All right, Joe. And we have a motion by Joe Glasson. No? Marcia's first, Joe Glasson's, Mary Ann. All right, Mary Ann. Okay, Mary Ann Wagner, okay. All right, Sharon, okay. On that motion, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, thank you.
And just to clarify, I didn't go through the streets. The streets for the road paving list are Clyde Waite Drive, Avenue B, Mill Creek Road, from Bristol Oxford Valley to Green Lane, Fleetwood Drive, Bloomsdale Road, Mitchell Road, Red Cedar Pass, Return Lane, Coventry Ave from Cedar Ave to Second Ave, and Mill Creek Parkway from Haynes Road to the dead end at the median. The other thing I guess I didn't mention, I should have mentioned at Township Manager Report, we had a pre-construction meeting for PennDOT's road paving program, and Edgeley and Bristol Oxford Valley Road are on the list for this year. And we'll have more once the contracts are signed and they get a schedule, just like for us, we'll have more of a date of when it's going to start.
Mr. President, how many miles of road does that make?
There we go. I was
How
just
many
ready to
miles
ask
of
that.
road does that make?
What are we up to,
Since
170?
in the last 10 years when we started this thing? How
14,
many?
Randy, 14.
14? No, that's when we started the program. 10,
Thought it was 12.
12 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
How many miles of road? We got 200 miles of roads already? I mean, we had some crazy.
It's not 200. I don't have that number on top, but I can figure that. I can put that number out there. I think it's 172 miles, if I could think of. Yeah. I think it's 172 miles.
So that's from here down to Wildwood and back. It's a shame. We should take over the state roads. We would get it done.
Wildwood's 104 miles.
And cheaper. Okay. Yeah. Whoa. All right, moving right along here. Is there other business? Any other business?
We have to do the.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I'm moving along here. Okay. Listen, 2 screw-ups, it's pretty good. All right.
You're an A minus.
Thank you.
Still have an A.
She's rating me. Okay. Bids for 2025 ADA co-grant program.
And thank you again. So we always put these bids out together. It's because the curb ramp program goes in first before the roads are completed. So the 2025 curb ramp program would go in Red Cedar and in Bloomsdale Garden. And T. Schieffer Contractors was a low bid for $307,023.
Is that liquid fuel money?
That is liquid fuels funding, state funding.
Thank you, Pennsylvania.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Marion
Can
Wagner.
we make the motion so if T. Schieffer during the RCO period isn't deemed qualified, that we would award it to NJS, the second low bidder?
Okay.
If you can craft the motion that way, I think that would be preferred.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Marion Wagner, second by Marcia Dunlap. On the motion, is there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any other business? Nope. Go ahead.
Shot of Southern is the 24th now, right?
Yeah, bring your fans. It's only 100 degrees.
Is it
Tuesday it'll be 100?
Tuesday, yes,
Is it really?
yeah.
Yeah, we'll reach out to Shada Southern on Monday and when it's closer to the weather to see if they are willing to play in that heat or not. And then if they're willing to play, then the concert will be on.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. And just so some of the people at home and the audience, the reason we bumped our meeting up, because we were going to have a concert tonight, unfortunately got canceled with the weather that's coming. And next we have comments from council members. We won't see everybody for the 4th of July coming up, so happy 4th of July. Next, we have opportunity to residents to address council, and the first one is, excuse my, I screw your name up, but this one's John Heggie?
Well, before anybody comes up, if you're going to talk about, that's what I was going to do, is give the update now.
Okay.
So, because there's many people here for Greenbrook. Yeah, so just as an update, we got contacted about a month ago that electric poles were being installed. If we recall, Villas at Greenbrook was originally from a different developer, has been sold, and now DeLuca Homes is building the property. It's the old, the former school there. So the development has been approved, it's under construction, and now PECO is installing 30 new poles to bring down from Mill Creek to provide electric for the site. The residents were asking questions, is this, how is this even allowed? Is this permissible? That they can just do that? Why isn't it being made to go underground? I've explained to some residents that in 22 years, I've never seen this happen. There's laws and ordinances, local regulations, MPC, Arsaldo talks about electric on the development site. It doesn't talk about bringing electric to the site. I've explained that we have you know, the requirements, just like with any utility company, Aqua, Pico, it's a will comply letter, so they have to say we will comply with all regulations and we will be bringing electric to the site. That's what we did during land development. And so when, you know, we quickly paused, asked DeLuca and Pico if we can pause, look into it. Some of the questions have been asked about the green, where the poles were coming down on the green belt. You know, why wasn't a PINDY search done? We explained that that is only required for an NPDES permit that requires more than 5,000 square feet of soil removal. So that is not required, as well as PICO and the PUC have every right to go into a public right-of-way, which this is. Some of the concerns now have been asked about where they're putting it on the Greenbrook side of the Greenbelt. It concerns that it is very wet, it's marshy, there's a big drop-off, and it'll be on the end of the poles. A request has been made if we can meet out, the residents can meet out on site with PICO. I have put in that request, and I told them that it's a request. They are all PICO customers, can call themselves and ask those questions and complain. We are just following what the rules are. When we had talked to PICO about possibly having the electric that's being brought in go underground, they said it would now be a year worth of delay for design, and the developer is at maximum temporary electric currently. That's where, you know, the site is basically on temporary electric, and they would not be granting him any more, so no new construction could go. And I just think that that would cause lawsuits because of agreements of sales and et cetera. So, you know, we pushed this as far as we could, and, you know, requested the meeting. And so I just said I would give everybody here an update of where we are, since I've been speaking with Helen. I spoke to Helen a couple times, and then her husband Bob today. No, I literally just emailed him right before the meeting.
Okay, John, come on up.
You just have to state your name and your address.
Okay. John Hagee, 505 Washington Street. Is that better? Can you hear me now? It's green. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, wow, all right. Okay. I'm here to talk about two things. Maybe the first one's more important, is the late night train horns coming between 11 at night and 3 in the morning. The second one is concerning the Delaware Canal Trail and how it's kind of broken by Route 13 there by Green Lane. I'm just curious of whether you studied any way to connect that. Similar to what you did further up, where you had the Route 13 split and you dug a tunnel underneath it.
No, that was Kurt, what's in charge of the parks? Yes.
Yeah, that's the other question I have, is who's kind of responsible for that, so I don't know.
Yeah, state.
Okay. So, okay.
We can maybe possibly ask Kurt to check something out with them.
Yeah, it's a tough problem, because it's where the trail hits Route 13.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to cross there except people on the canal, or on the road, along the path. Maybe you want to do it right at Green Lane, so that it lets people get to the Bristol Amish market, or just. So
we have a grant in connection. We're a partner in a grant with Falls Township, and I believe this is one of the intersections for the D&L Trail. There's a study going. It's a study to see how to better have the crossings at the trail. So there's 3 sites in Bristol Township. I believe this is one, and on Haynes Road is another. And I believe, I forget where the other one is, but we're looking at safety and, you know, signage and you know, clearing of the branches and the overgrowth and stuff like that.
Okay, good. So back to the first one, the train horns. So actually, I'm from Bristol Borough, but the train horns I've discovered are coming from Dow Chemical. They're moving they're moving train cars back and forth along what's called the Bristol Industrial Railroad, which is just a kind of a small network used mainly by Dow Chemical. And so I've been told that because I literally got so tired of it, I got out of bed and followed the sound and came and found that it was Dow Chemical. Was waiting there for the next one to happen, and the policeman came by and said, "Oh yeah, it's Dow Chemical," and I guess they're told to do it then because the main crossings that would interfere with traffic is 413, right there by the Wawa and the bridge entry, right? And then there are two other smaller ones at State Street and River Road. So what's happening, and maybe you've heard them, I don't know. I don't know if you're on Nextdoor, but I have a whole conversation on Nextdoor about this last week. And only Bristol Borough people kind of chimed in. And I think it's because there's a 18-foot tall mound of dirt, rock, and concrete between Dow and Bristol Township. That's known as the Northeast Corridor. So I think that kind of insulates you all from the sound, because that's a lot of dirt and rock. So unfortunately, it reflects it right back at us in Bristol Borough, because there's nothing in between. I'm a mile and a half away, and it wakes me up at night.
So your one is, I'm not sure what your one is.
Well, what I like to do is investigate a quiet zone, setting up a quiet zone with the Federal Railroad Administration. Now, have you ever looked into that or ever done anything like that?
Let me give you just one example dealing with railroads. We have a bridge over Edgeley, and it's falling apart. It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years just to fix that bridge, dealing with the bureaucracy. It's brutal.
There is a Wake.
It would be a federal. You would really talk to your congressman, state senators, federal senator, really on that issue. It's out of our. That's like asking us to go on 95 and change the speed limit.
Well, I mean, I think it's up to you guys. Well, it's complicated because the sound's coming from Bristol Township, but it's wafting across mainly Bristol Borough.
I got it.
So I'm hoping that there's a way for you to kind of maybe do the paperwork, and Bristol Borough would help pay for because usually if they add some infrastructure, like lights or something like that.
We'll ask.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thanks, John. Did you go to, just go, don't get up. Did you go to Bristol Borough too?
I haven't yet. I came here first because you're the source of it.
Yeah, okay.
It's coming from you guys.
Yeah, in all fairness, we're not the source of it. It's the federal, but I'm saying, if you've ever dealt with the railroads, I live in a town where we have railroads too, in New Hope. They have federal regulations. They are it's an enigma inside a conundrum. I mean, they have unbelievable rights, and we have, unfortunately, don't have the rights we should. Let me finish.
Yeah.
We don't have, we've dealt with them before. It's not an easy problem, but we'll look at it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I spoke to somebody who answered
Got
the
it.
phone at the Federal Railroad.
Next is Connie. Connie? Come on up, Connie. Connie, is it Stewart's? S-T-O-R-Z. I thought so, but I don't want to beat it up. Hi, Connie.
Hi, how you doing tonight? So I came tonight thinking something was on the agenda, and when I saw Emily Avenue, and it's not on the agenda tonight, but it will be coming to your attention, is them building state on 7 houses at the end of Emily and Ann Street in Croydon. So I don't know now you know or not, but we have 80 acres of the Heritage Conservatory there that the school and us just recently paired together, and we cleaned the whole thing up. It's beautiful back there. We all know what's across the street was a toxic waste dump. We have that now pretty well cleaned up. We have, I work at elementary school there for 34 years. So we now have a classroom out back, and it's wonderful. I invite any of you to come back and visit our outdoor classroom out there. So our next agenda is the meadow behind Keystone. It is wetlands there.
Right.
And they're gonna put the Heritage Trail there, or is it the Delaware Valley Trail? They did a survey. The Heritage is gonna do, the coastal.
The East Coast Greenways.
Yes.
It's our River Road Trail.
It's our River Road Trail.
Right.
And I don't know whether you know it or not, this is the last coastal plain in this state. Okay, so you know where I'm talking about, right?
For
You know
years.
and so you know where they wanna build, right? okay? That should not be built. We have a lot going on back there that is adjoining to the meadow out back, plus the creek out back. That's our next thing we want to work on, is a creek going back. So they want to put a road, if I'm looking at the blueprints right, they're going to tear down the woods and put the road all the way around, which is totally not good. We have something good going on in the township back here in that corner, and let's keep it that way. We have a lot of building going on,
Yeah, we do.
and
Everybody wants
here's,
to be in Bristol Township now.
yeah, that's wonderful. I've lived here my whole life.
Yeah.
We finally have something good. We have schools. All the other schools are coming over, visiting the coastal plain back there. We put a tower up there. We are now monitoring birds. They're migrating. We have one, the wood thrush now coming back there from Belize. We just did a outdoor classroom with them. We have a lot going on back there. And for us to put 7 houses back there and tear down those woods is going to destroy a lot of what's going on back there. And that should not be passed.
Mr. Schroeder, you have any comment on that?
I think it's already been approved.
No.
What have I read then? What has been approved?
What'd you
That
read it? Let
the
it tell
plan,
now?
yes,
Let
the
it tell.
planning commission, right.
Yeah.
Made a recommendation to council, it's not on the agenda tonight, though.
Okay, I get that, but it's gonna come before you,
Yeah, that's right.
right? And I would like you to turn it down and see what's going on back there. I invite everyone is to come to our classrooms and see it's a great thing going on we have back there. And I think you will agree with me when you see what's going on back there, that we don't need 7 houses on this little lot.
Right, but it's private property, so we can't say what's
So
going
you-
on there. So you can,
You can consider how much they're gonna put there. 7 houses on that lot? That's a lot of houses there.
Right, but I'm just saying, we can, you know, if it can't, we can't turn down development that is allowed by our ordinances. So, I mean, like, it's not, you're,
You can make them downsize, right? I mean,
Yeah. Like somebody built a house you're on, right? Because it's legal. You're in a residential.
I'd have a hard time believing that 7 houses fit on that lot.
Has this gone through zoning yet?
Yeah.
Hey, we had no idea any of this was going on. I just think it's unfair, and we should have been consulted through the Heritage on what was going on down there.
Were there a lot of variances granted to this
No, I don't think this
particular
one
project?
needed- I don't think this one needed, this is a by right zoning.
By right, right?
Plan, it did go,
You guys look into it for us?
We always do.
Yeah,
You know,
and see,
we
if,
look at
you
it.
know, yes, about what's going on and why we would need 7 houses down.
yeah, I'm just saying that this discussion, they'll probably be on the agenda next month. That's when you come with this discussion, because the engineer and the engineers, and the applicant and all those people that you have those questions to, will be able to answer those.
Right. Okay, I'm just asking maybe if you look into it ahead of time, for our area and
Well,
for
but
our
plans-
kids
No,
down
no,
at the school.
thank you for coming, and it gives me the opportunity to look further into it
Right.
before it's in front of me.
Thank
I
you
do
very much.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
We will receive the plans and.
Right,
And then
right.
a week before, we can look
Right,
at,
and I don't know, have any of you been back there at all in our Croydon Woods?
not in the last 3 years.
Oh my God, come back, see what's going on, we have a lot going on
We're
back
doing
there.
everything with trails, green belts, I mean, we're
And
doing everything.
and
we
that
can.
will be part of it back there.
Right. We
So,
got-
and we have something good going on in the corner of the township, and I'd like to keep it that way.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Next, we have Darlene McGovern.
Can I defer to Helen to speak first?
Sure, well, if you want to.
Talking about the same thing, so I.
Right, okay, come on up. Well, the next is David McGovern. Same? Okay, I'm gonna cross you off there. Next, we have Wes Wessler. Come on up, Wes. Great to see you. Hope things have been going good. How's that air condition working, Wes, that I got you? Oh, by the way, thank you for putting my political yard sign back up. I appreciate that.
I wasn't there. So you're thanking me for something I didn't do? No, I was gonna tell Connie to do things the democratic way. The democratic way is if the ordinance will allow it and you don't want it, you just change the ordinance. There you go. All right? That's how they work it. Nothing to it. Okay, so I'm here, number one, to talk about your zoning board. I know you say you have nothing to do with it. Absolutely. But I guess McTagg does. I guess they didn't do their homework too good, because when they approved that 10-foot fence between my house and Morano's house, they had an open hearing on it, and Morano's now wife, I say now because that happened in the interim, came in and talked about all the reasons she wanted it and this and that. And when Dominic tried to talk, they shut him down because he didn't sign up to talk. Big thing is, they approved that, but she's not a property owner. She lives there, but she's not a property owner. So they granted that request illegally, I believe. So I think you should revoke that. I'll move on to the next thing. Bristol Township Police. I'd like to know whom authorizes them not to take reports on stolen vehicles. You got a military answer for everything, huh? Oh, yeah? Well, they refused to take a report on more than 7 of my vehicles that were stolen. And they said they're not going to take that report because that was L&I. And the officer that wrote me back that in a text was Officer Leon Hauser. So maybe we ought to go and have a
Right,
talk
because
with
there
Mr.
was
Colton.
there was a private suit going on. They had a search warrant. They had the ability to go in the car. That's not being stolen. They had a court order to go take
Who
your
had
property.
a court order? Where was it? Why did they not produce it?
They did. And
No, they didn't.
Okay. Well, I've spoken to you and to Bob about this several times. It was produced.
They didn't produce a court order. Period. You can say it any way you want to. Now, you might have went and got the court order after the fact, so you could back yourselves up, which is the democratic way of doing things. Okay, next thing is, I was riding through Winter Village the other day. I see a big sign out there on one of the people's yards in a main area that you would see all the time, and it says, "Don't vote for Cindy Murphy." I wonder why. I mean, it's big. It's big as that thing that says Township of Bristol. Okay. Now we're gonna go back to yet again cars parked on the grass.
Where's that at, Wes?
That's at your place.
Why'd you do your homework instead of throwing blood up?
The homework ain't put a little block. It ain't put a little block of cement under the wheels.
All legal, it's not on the grass.
It's not put a little block underneath every wheel.
You're making your own ordinances up down there in Weston. Do your homework.
What's that ordinance say?
As long as you don't, no cars parked in the grass.
So that's your way around it, huh? Put little blocks of cement under each wheel.
I think you have a problem with the people who are putting the cars out there, is what I think.
I don't know about that.
No, I do. I think you have an issue.
No, I got an issue with somebody that's voted in office, and on his property, he's going against the township ordinances, and he figures that because he's in the position he's in, he can get away with that.
Thank you for your opinion. Yeah, if anybody knows about going against the ordinance. Well, Wes, we want to thank you for coming out. We'll look forward to see you next month. Thank you. All right, Helen, come on up. Time to get to the meat.
Yeah. My name is Helen Hoover. I've lived on Greenbrook Drive for 55 years. And in 55 years, I've never had to come before the council to ask for some support and help. But I want to come tonight to speak to you about the proposed overhead electric lines along Greenbrook Greenbelt. We feel as though this is a serious environmental and financial concern. I had a long conversation with Randy this afternoon, late this afternoon at 4 o'clock. So everything I was going to say changed, so I had to put something together real quickly to respond to her update. And here's where I am. The Green Book Greenbelt in some areas is only 10 feet wide. And so before I go on, I have a photo, because I didn't know I could put something up on the screen that I wanted to share with you. This is outside in front of my house, if you would share that. So the area is only about 10 foot wide in some areas, and you can see that they put a stake up to where the pole is going to go. The drainage ditch that runs behind, directly behind that stake, on the backside of each pole is going to be exposed to a severe slope into the drainage ditch and erosion after the foliage is completed. So what I wanted to point out that the drainage ditch soil is not compacted and it's not engineered fill. Therefore, what we have found, it's eroded, it's saturated, and it's structurally compromised. Installing poles in this soil is just not environmentally damaged, it could be structurally unsound. And that 45-foot pole that's going to go up, if it comes down, it's going to come across and hit our houses. So it really raises serious questions about long-term safety and maintenance. So then I also spoke to Randy about who is going to pay for the clearing of this area. And you see by that photo, there's a lot of clearing to be done, mature trees that are 50 years old. And she had indicated that the township is being asked to pay for that clearing from PICO. And it's my understanding that the township has declined to do that. But this afternoon said the township may be open.
No. Just so I can clarify what I said.
Sure.
It's that PICO is asking the township to clear it because it's township property. That is a normal request, and that there's a development going on. So we have an escrow with them, so we could either take it out of the, with DeLuca Homes, the builder. We can either take it out of the escrow, or we can get a contracted service to do it, since we don't have that in-house ability, and then we would send them the bill. So we were never going to pay for it. It's just the natural course, or PICO goes to the property owner and says, pay for it. And then we were doing the, I was going to do the process that needed to happen after that.
Okay, I wasn't aware that there was an escrow. So does the escrow give you the ability just to take that as monies, the cost? Do you not have to submit a bill to DeLuca detailing what was done?
We have a developer's agreement with them. We have a professional services agreement that says, all consultants' fees and anything that is related to the project that is cost of any of the taxpayers, that they reimburse us.
Okay.
And they get sent the bills to review.
Okay, so that's good. The other area I wanted to talk to, we talked about that PNDI survey, right? And you had conveyed to me that it's not required because the project does not exceed 5,000 square feet of soil disturbance. But this threshold was designed for grading and excavation, not for selective clearing in sensitive narrow greenbelts. So is that a clause under the PNDI that it doesn't pertain to that selective clearing?
Yes, that's what I was trying to explain, that when you're talking about you need a PINDY search, and I explained what where the PINDY search comes from, and that it's only because if you need the NPDES permit that, we were talking about, that if you needed that, and the requirements to get the NPDES permit. So there are no restrictions, or there's no regulation to require any, when they're putting poles into the ground, there's no requirement of that for federal regulations for any environmental impact or anything.
But those poles going in the ground and you're removing all those trees and the foliage and the vegetation is going to impact the environmental animal, wildlife, and so forth. So isn't that covered under that?
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think the overarching theme of this is like the utility company has a lot of influence over this. I mean, we don't have any regulatory ability at the township level to control what the public utilities do. That's in Pennsylvania regulated by the Pennsylvania Utility Commission. And any requirements that PECO needs to follow, sure, they have to follow whatever federal, state requirements exist for them. I personally don't know what all of their intricacies are, but I do know that the township doesn't have an ability to require, you know, anything more than a road opening permit, which we can't deny because they're allowed to install public utilities in public rights-of-ways. So, you know, as far as the structural integrity or the environmental impacts or the erosion control, you know, PECO installs utility poles across the entire Commonwealth, and they do it in some pretty treacherous terrain. So I'm sure that their designers are looking at how to safely do that, and you know, maybe they need longer poles that have to be embedded deeper into the ground. You know, maybe they have to do some type of you know, after they auger the holes, they'll maybe send some cement or something in there to try to reinforce that excavation. But these are all things that their engineers and their designers do on behalf of PECO all the time.
Well, you speak with a lot of confidence. However, I have been out there every time I see a PECO truck or I see infrastructure, I'm out there communicating. And the last communication was on Thursday, and the individual out there looking for objects that would be in the way, and I talked to him about some details. He had no knowledge. So it was just as simple. He was just going through the paperwork and signing off, everything's okay. And that's why I asked for a site inspection with PECO and township officials, because
we got it. We're
gonna do that?
We're hoping to get
Yeah,
PECO out
because
there, okay?
somebody's gotta look at
There's
the
more-
drainage
Ellen,
ditch.
There's more people who want to talk. So we'll be here after the meeting's over, and if you want to talk some more.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next is Sue Reeves.
Hi. Hi. My name is Sue Reeves, and I live at 185 Greenbrook Drive. I'm right next door to Helen, actually. So a lot of what Helen just discussed were things that I wanted to bring up as well. Some of my concerns are in regard to them taking down all of the trees and all of the foliage there. You know, I do have concerns for all of the animals. I mean, we see animals all the time. I mean, other than the birds and squirrels, I saw 2 ducks crossing the other day. You know, there's a lot of concern about where are they going to go? The wildlife, their habitat is going to be destroyed. So that does bother me. The other thing that has bothered me is that I found out that PECO is still using chemicals that have been banned on their poles. They put them into big vats of chemicals as opposed to coating them or painting them. They put them into these vats and let them sit and soak in the vats, and then they pull them out and let them dry and put them in. And I found out that there is one in particular that I have the name of it. It's called pentachlorophenol, AKA Penta, and it's a human carcinogen. It is very toxic, and they are allowed to continue using that substance, even though it has been banned throughout the entire country. They can continue using it until 2027. So these poles that are going to be placed up and down Greenbrook Drive, I mean, one right across the street from my house. If one falls down, it's going to fall on my house. But anyway, these poles have carcinogens. I mean, they are carcinogenic, and that's what really worries me. I've been through cancer fairly recently in 2 years of treatment, and it's not fun. I don't want to live across the street from poles from down on Mill Creek Parkway all the way up to where John Fitch School used to be. I mean, I don't know about the amount of off-gassing that you would get from some of these chemicals, but I would imagine if there's enough of them, you know, that they're toxic. I mean, they're known to be toxic.
That's good. I didn't know that. That's good information. I didn't know that.
Thank you.
Just so you understand, I empathize. If I opened my back door and there was, end of my property, they were bringing poles down for houses, I wouldn't be happy. And the same in my front. I live on an undedicated street, Avenue B. And if they were bringing poles down, because there is opportunity to build houses, I wouldn't be happy. But I'm totally right. And we were blindsided. I actually talked to the original purchaser of the property just the other day, and I said, did you know that there wasn't enough power? He said, absolutely not. When I purchased the property, stood right there at that one pole, and Pico was there and said, there's enough power right here to power this place up. He said, I did not, Pico told me there was plenty of power.
Wow.
So
So everybody was blindsided.
How about that, huh? Yep.
Yeah.
And I can relate to being sliced and diced. I mean, I live in Newportville. We got hammered when they built 95. We got hammered when they extended 95 through Newportville. And now they're putting all the ramps, the clover leaves on. We got destroyed once more. And we'll talk about environmental. When they expanded the turnpike, there was these woods that just stopped the sound right next to the turnpike along Newport Road. And they grenaded everything around there, and I can relate to it. And it's, and Edgeley is having the same problem. They're building another bridge, and there's people losing their homes right there. So, you know, I don't know what to say, but we're gonna do what we can and meet with Pico and see if we can get some resolution here.
Okay, that sounds
No,
good.
but I
Thank
can
you.
relate to her, everything, you know. I wouldn't wanna see pole lines coming down my
No,
street,
not
our street
only
where
is
Chrissy and I
it,
live.
yeah, aesthetically, it's
Yeah,
awful.
I know.
You know, but
Yeah.
the fact that we might be, they probably off-gas, I would think that they do
Yeah.
if there's a lot of them. And
Well, hopefully
I
there's
may be breathing that stuff.
Some resolution, hopefully, hopefully they wanna meet with us, you know.
That would be good. That'd
So.
be great.
All right,
Okay, thank you so much.
thank you. Next is, it's Martin, is it Slemmy? Slemmer, okay. We had an officer here, Slemmer, back in the day.
Back in the day.
What's that? Bud, yes. Hello, Mr. Slemmer.
Hello. I just want to make a few comments. Partly, I'm sorry,
Yes.
say again? Oh,
Yep.
Martin Slemmer, 171 Greenbrook Drive. A couple comments I wanted to make. One was that with the poles coming down the street, I have poles in my backyard.
Right.
Directly across the street from me, I'm going to have poles coming down.
Yep.
Property value, I guarantee you, is going to affect that.
You think that, huh?
I believe that.
Okay.
So I feel that if Pico has any inkling of sensibility, you would think that they would have already looked at all of that and say, okay, well, maybe Stony Brook, maybe we can go on the other side.
Right, I thought that in my head.
Okay, so what is it, an extra 2 or 3 poles? Go down, then up, 2 poles this way, underground? You already mentioned that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, you know, again, you know, all the aesthetics aside, you know, wildlife. I mean, I had deer coming down the street.
Yeah.
Got a fox coming in and out of the greenbelt. I just find it hard to believe that we can't come up with a solution that is going to be, I think, I guess, best for both parties. I mean, they need the power down here. I understand that. You can't stand in front of, you know, progress. However, going underground, I mean, that, to me, that's the optimal. You know, if they're not, you know, if we're saying that the cost associated with that and holding up a project, well, I mean, none of this was even talked about, right? You wouldn't even have thought about this because it's not part of what you do. So now we're here, now we have to talk about it, and now we're saying it's too late. Oh, their project is on the way, they got houses that they're trying to sell. Now that's my problem?
Well,
You know,
I think the main thing to take away is that those are all the issues that were discussed, but also it's the main regulatory of the Pennsylvania Utility Commission. We're telling you from what we have experienced that they have every right to go there, and we have no right to stop them from
Fitzpatrick,
installing.
what did he say? What did Fitzpatrick tell you?
He was out, but he was.
I mean, they're basically telling us to go to the township. The township is telling us to go to the regulatory. All right, so now, again,
Let me say this. It's always great when politicians, everybody wants to pass the buck to everyone, but the difference is, we're actually telling you our experience and the truth. We're gonna try to meet with them. Let me finish. I listened to you. We're gonna try to meet with them to see what we can come up with. But unfortunately, it's a PUC-regulated utility, and they have tremendous rights, just like the railroads have tremendous
No,
rights.
I
And we don't-
understand.
And it's, and you can't, and it's hard for us, like, we can't just say no to them. Like, because they'll go, we'll end up with a big lawsuit, which we can't win. So, best approach, I think, we understand, I mean, the president has already said how terrible he feels about this whole thing, how we were blindsided. We're gonna try to meet with them, with residents there, and discuss alternatives and see what we come up with. That's the best that's the best answer you're ever gonna get out of the council.
Yeah, no, I understand. I can believe that you guys have been involved in this before. You've had, roadblocks or whatever the case may be, whether it's a railroad, whether it's a power company.
By the way, nobody's happy about what happened.
Right.
Just so you understand, there's 7 up there. Imagine, there's not one person that's on our, and the professional staff
It just
are
appears
pissed
that
about it.
nobody has really understood that was gonna come.
No.
And I can believe
The
that.
original owner,
I can believe that.
before he sold
I
it to
can
you
believe
guys,
that.
just have breakfast. And I said, did you know there was not enough power? He said, absolutely not. They said, there's plenty of power here. Okay, how could PECO not know at that point?
Hey, they can use my backyard, they can come along and run new lines that are large enough to handle the load.
We thought the same thing. There was some issues with that, right? We were
Well, I don't
trying
know
to
this
throw
for
that
certain.
out
I mean,
there.
there is, the existing power that came to the school came behind the homes, just like most electric serving most of Levittown come between the backyards. There's PECO easement there. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but perhaps PECO looked at a path of least resistance going where they're proposing to go, and maybe they looked at the yards. And I've looked at the yards from aerial mapping, wondering the same thing. Why didn't they come through the existing corridor where the poles are now? My fear would be they'd probably have to get line trucks into that easement, which they probably have full rights to do, which means all the fencing, all the sheds, all the pools, many of which are probably not even allowed to be there to begin with, would disrupt more than 30, 40 residents in a real big way. And perhaps this is their best alternative to try to, in their opinions, be good neighbors and try to come up with a better solution. I don't know that. They've never
Yeah,
said
we don't
that.
know for sure. We're just kind of like scratching our head. Why are they doing this? Why are they bringing poles down when there's power all over the place? Sure. So hopefully they'll meet with us and we can get some clarity on it.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I got it.
how will we know, and when
Well,
can we be there? How's that gonna happen?
We'll, hopefully, we get communication and,
You've emailed, right?
yeah.
Maybe they'll email the township?
Yeah,
Yes, yes, everybody.
Yeah, she has Helen's phone number. She'll disseminate that.
She'll get the word.
All right, thank you.
All right, Martin. Next, Stacy. Stacy here? Stacy, going once, twice, three, okay. And Ann.
Hi, how are you? I'm Ann Cowell. I live at 54 Flower Lane. I am the corner property where South Lane comes in off of Stony Brook and we intersect with Kenwood. So I know a lot of people probably have been past my house at some point in time. This also involves Farmbrook, as far as I'm told, because we saw the stakes, and I know that it's gonna go down South Lane, and then it's gonna go over probably to the power lines. I totally supported the 55-plus community, I think it was a great idea to be able to do that, and I'm all there. But I don't want power lines on both sides of my house either. I mean, it's like, I look out my front door and the power lines are there. We have an easement there, and, you know, I mean, I'm perfectly aware of what it is, but I'm gonna go out my living room door, look at my window, and I'm gonna have to look at more power lines there. And I don't know what that does to us. You know, they talk about just electromagnetic and all that stuff. So, I mean, we're adding to it. It just seems like it's kind of lazy on the part of PECO that they're doing this. And as was brought up, and you said, why can't we use the poles that are there? There are poles that are there now that truly need to be replaced anyway. And we've called PECO about the pole that's at the corner of our property and our neighbor. It's tilted over like this, and I mean, it needs to be done, and I don't understand, why can't they just put bigger lines in so that they can, you know, have the power for there? And I just wanted to come and state that case, and please include Farmbrook in on that. Okay, so, because it's coming all the way right through, and I just want to make sure that, you know, they're aware. It's like, I mean, we've been good, you know, neighbors for as long as we're there, and I want them to be good neighbors to us.
Yeah.
And I know that you guys don't have a ton of power against them, but I'm hoping that if we can all just maybe, you know, state our case, that
Give
they'll
a
help.
push.
Yeah, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not even going
Thanks,
to take
Ann.
more time. Thanks.
All right. Well, that, listen, I appreciate everybody coming out and voicing their opinions and thoughts, and hope maybe there's some movement. Really hope. And I can relate.
Look what they did on Emily Road.
Oh, wait a minute, how about New Falls Road? They put these poles up, and we were just talking about, why would you put the pole right next to the road? Right next to the curb, I mean, so if somebody's coming down the road, they have no chance, and they're gonna just slam into that pole, and it's almost like they don't care, you know, so.
They have to go higher,
Yeah,
I'm told, because they're increasing the voltage.
right, with all the new cars, right, the electric cars,
Pole and the other pole.
yep.
The power up here is higher than the lower pole.
But back to your neighborhood, I totally got it, you know, I closed my eyes and just imagine what it was like looking at my back and seeing new poles lines coming down. I would not be happy. So, on that note, we're gonna agenda meeting. We will be here hanging out for a little bit. So we need a motion to adjourn the meeting. We have adjourned the meeting by Miriam Wagner. A second, all in favor to join the meeting? Aye. Thank you so much.